Okay, so I figured I would play through one more of the chapters today, and that's going to be Robin, which is the youngest of the girls. I already played through with Ruby, and I just uploaded that video. And I also just checked my website, and it turned out the interview I did with the developers, Tale of Tales, was, I guess it was lost in the last site crash, but I just put that back up at alchemillahospital.net. If you go to interviews, that should be in there somewhere, or search for Tale of Tales interview on there. Alright, so where are we at? And this is just the apartment they live in. And once it loads, it'll show the girls that I haven't played as yet. It starts out with 6 girls. And you put the basket over one to choose her. It also tells you the name if you put the basket over them. And they each have their own personality and say different things, and they visit different areas. Also, Robin is the one that looks the most like traditional stories of Little Red Riding Hood, because she has a little hooded coat on. Okay, now that we have the basket, we can choose them or mouse over them. And from the website, see, it says, youngest sister and one of 6 characters, you will take on a mysterious journey through the forest. Robin is 9 years old, a very lively child. She loves playing in the forest, only on the path, of course. Mother tells her never to go into the woods. She never says why. Robin thinks there may be fun things to play with in the forest. She sometimes hears the creaking sounds of what seems to be a swing, or the howl of a wolf in the distance. Robin likes wolves. They are her favorite kind of animal. And that's from the official website, which is Tales.com. And this is the really good. So I gotta turn down the music because in certain areas it gets really loud. And the music's by Jarbo and somebody else, I forget now. Then we see Robin skipping along happily. And those are the developers. I interviewed them, but I think it was just one of them answering as both. These are, I don't know if they're just a couple or a married couple, a boyfriend or girlfriend or husband and wife, but in any case, they are the main people in this development team, Tale of Tales. And they had a lot of interesting content on their website last time I checked it. And I still haven't read the post-mortem on this, which I mean to do later tonight. And before I was taking game development classes, I really didn't realize the whole purpose of a post-mortem. I mean, I knew it was to say what was good and bad about a game and, what the developers had learned, but I didn't really know that it was actually a normal part of the development process. It just happens to be one of the only documents that developers routinely share about a game. To say what they've learned and, before moving on. Now I'm thinking that squiggly line may be telling you which way the path is. There's the girl of the forest, or whatever she's called, frolicking around up there. And I was thinking of collecting more items this time. You just see random things in the forest. There's couches and what's that? Flower? Knife? Pillow. Was it showing a knife and a pillow? Odd. Yum candy. Alright, and that's telling us that the wolf is nearby. And this one takes place in a graveyard. The end scene of this. That's one of the flowers, and we only have 3 of 144. Maybe I'll try to get more of those on the other girls as I play through with them, but when you run, they sort of disappear. Which is probably metaphorical too, in that, you're moving too fast to really notice the details and appreciate things. And you have to press enter when you see these too, and then she'll pick them up. And there are some areas that more than one girl can visit, but I think Robin is the only one that can go to the graveyard, but don't quote me on that because I really can't remember. It's been so many years since I played this. And I still think it looks pretty neat. I mean, the colors and the, otherworldly, dreamlike quality of the surroundings. And again, it loops. If you keep going forever in one direction, it'll just keep looping the same areas. And it'll sort of show a map some of the time, but I don't remember when or what you have to do. Alright. We're seeing a chair with that. Singing, howling, ringing, moon. So again, some of this emphasize how she likes wolves. And the metaphor here seems to be that, I guess the things you like can hurt you. And now we're in the cemetery. We can interact with some of the things, and this is just showing the wolf's point of view. And we'll see him more clearly in a second here. The girl's there, and then we see the wolf kind of hunched over there, but walking upright. People die. It's hard to imagine for a kid like me. They die, and we put them in the ground like flowers. And if you wander around, she'll say a lot more things. I used to try to make screen caps of those. She'll climb in a grave here too. If you click on one of these. Yeah, this is the one with the angel. I guess it doesn't have a head. And there's our wolf. But I don't think this part ends unless you actually click on him. Or maybe if you get really close, I don't know. Digging in the dirt, getting dirty nails. Scratching in the grave. Dirty, dirty dirt. Oh, I didn't mean to put her back in there again. She's not going to do anything differently this time. But I guess since I accidentally went to the graveyard first, we'll probably end pretty soon. I meant to go look in other places, because there must be at least 2 other places that she can explore in the woods. Like how there were sort of ruins that, what was her name, Ruby could see, and then there was that field with the scarecrow. And then once she gets to the playground, then it ends. But for Robin, it ends here in the graveyard with the wolf. And it's a little bit more literal in this one, with the girl who actually looks like Little Red Riding Hood, and she actually has a red hood. And her wolf is literally a wolf, whereas I don't think the rest of them, their wolves, are not wolves in the literal sense. They're just sort of bad people or bad events. Here's some robin eggs, it looks like. We see these strange things like TV, and it sort of adds to the dreamlike quality. Young dead bird. Okay. So I've clicked on the wolf now. And wolves are our favorite animal, we'll recall. We learned this from the website. And there's a lot of supplementary material for this. I bought something, what was it called? The Tale of Tales Ephemera Pack. And it came with posters and coasters for drinks and postcards and all sorts of, strange extra items like that. And there were things like flash drives for this, but I didn't get that. But you don't actually have to buy anything extra. It's just, you can just go to the website and there's a whole bunch of extra information and supplementary material there. And here we also see Robin beaten up, and in a bad way, and it's raining and dark. And this happens with all the girls as long as you go into the woods and meet the wolf. Though their stories are different, and the details are different, and, the places you can visit are different. But you always have this very slow walk to Grandma's house. And you can't make her run here, because she's, all beaten up or whatever. So you have to deal with this extremely slow walking part, I guess, where you're supposed to be reflecting on what has just occurred. And it's supposed to be, depressing or disturbing or whatever. And it is if you're immersed enough in it. It's just that I'm thinking about other things and streaming and things right now. But this really is a game that stayed with me long after I played it. And that's one thing I like about it, is there was clearly a lot of thought put into it. And I like the open-endedness of it, that you have to actually use your imagination about what's going on, and it isn't spelled out for you, even though things are heavily implied. Okay, so now we've opened the gate and we're slowly making our way to Grandma's house. I forget what happens, actually, if you go directly to her house, because you can skip the forest entirely. But you're not encouraged to do that, and you certainly aren't rewarded for it. Because then you don't unlock anything, and just sort of... The metaphor here is, you don't experience anything if you just stay on the path, and so on. But I really like the use of color, and especially in the special areas in the forest, and it sort of changes color as you move around, and it sort of gets blurry and foggy when you're running, and you can't appreciate the details as much. It sort of goes gray too, sort of like it is right now. When you're running through the forest, that is. But that's sometimes helpful when you're trying to find your way to the special areas. Because it's not all just, same forest type stuff. There's 3 or 4 areas for each girl to visit, and only one of them has a wolf. Okay, so this looks pretty much the same as when I went through with Ruby so far, except now we have these claw marks. Because Robin's favorite animal has apparently harmed her. So these are repeated a lot. And some of the areas are the same. I mean, it's the same house, but it's sort of a different experience for each girl. And I'm sure I didn't unlock anything. Because I didn't really do much with her before I ended up accidentally in the graveyard. I actually intended to explore more with Robin. So eventually, once I play through with all the girls, I'd like to go through and actually purposefully get all the stuff, get all the objects, and maybe collect all the flowers and visit all the areas, and then you... okay, we just fell into a grave. Now we see some wolf stuff. But yeah, I'd like to go through and actually unlock all the secret rooms or hidden rooms or whatever in Grandma's house for each of the girls. Because it's been a long time since I did that. And they are supposed to tell you a little bit more about each of the girls. Because they very much have their own personalities. Okay, well, that's enough for today. I guess we got rank C again. And thanks for tuning in. If you did, you found the cemetery. Okay, and that's all the girls.